newest Jeep in America is a Ford. This is the Ford Pygmy prototype that was designed at the end of 1939 and used as the basis for Ford's build in 1940. What happened at the time was a small organization with a lobbyist in Washington was trying to pitch to the federal government on the idea of building what they had wanted, which was a small vehicle that was rapidly deployable and had really this universal character that it could be used for just about anything. And that company was up in Butler, Pennsylvania, a small town north of Pittsburgh. It was the Bantam Corporation. While they had a business in automobiles, it was quite a small business. But they came back in conjunction with the Army with an idea drawn out on a couple sheets of paper that are lost to the world, the idea of the silhouette of the Jeep. And the silhouette of the Jeep turned out to be one of the most simple yet profound designs of the century. It stays with us today as probably one of the most iconic symbols of America life and lifestyle. It was certainly part of the war. It was born out of conflict, so it does have that edge to it, but its immediate application was not thought to be as we use them today for average transportation, yet it was thought that these would be used in the post-war environment for farm work. So it was immediately launched after the war as something to be used to pull a wide range of implements behind this Jeep so that you could tend to your fields. Immediately, that design kicked off and took into a different direction the idea of the modern SUV, the first station wagon, the first metal-sided station wagon, which is, of course, the predecessor of all modern SUVs, came out of this. But back to the original story, Bantam built the first prototypes. They weren't big enough. The government went out to Detroit, put out to anybody whether or not they would help design this next mobile carrier for troops in war. And the two companies that came back were Ford and Willis-Overland. They both came up with independent designs, but they were based on this original Bantam design. They did prototypes, and this prototype is the only one that survives. And in fact, the flat front of this automobile was actually designed, the iconic front of a Jeep was designed by Ford. And in fact, the Willis-Overland version had much more curvature to it and didn't look quite like what you would tend to think of as a Jeep. Immediately, there was a scuttle about who actually came up with the design. And almost immediately, while we're in war, there are lawsuits about who is going to own this because it was such a colossal idea. They knew it was going to change America in a profound way, and in fact, it has.
One of the key things we're seeing here, born out of conflict, okay, the simplicity, the versatility of the Jeep in terms of its design, but also its application. Another output from the Second World War was, of course, the world at the beginning of hardware computing, but now hardware-software. The universal machine of Alan Turing, which was at the heart of cryptography and decryption in the Second World War, the first really electronic computer, digital computer, was a similar, simple notion of a universal machine that was versatile, could be applied to all sorts of different purposes. With the Jeep, versatility and simplicity. The automobile, embedded as this multiple device for all sorts of different things. And we're seeing a convergence with the world of data, of information, yes, embedded in hardware and software. Versatility, universal machines that are embedded in everyday life.